Mics are on.
Yeah, we are. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to call our meeting to order.
Oh, I gotta go, sorry. Good morning. Good
Good morning.
Hi, Rick. Good morning. Are y'all a part of the meeting? Good morning, Eric. Good morning, John. Good morning, Ed.
Morning.
Good morning, Betsy.
Morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Thanks for being here this morning. I would ask if you would, please, to turn your cell phone off if you have any, if you have your cell phone with you. We will stand and have pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Black and prayer by Mayor Pro Tem Reed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would like to pray with us this morning, would you please remain standing? Dear God of us all, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. We thank you that you have allowed us to come together once and again to make decisions based on the citizens of Madison. We ask that you give us wisdom, knowledge, insight, and recall. We ask it all in your name. Amen.
Amen. We've asked our chief to be with us this morning, and Gene, if you could give us a quick update about our storm and what you think we are expecting.
We can, you want me to do it from here?
Yeah.
Chief? I'm gonna get up here by myself. More support. There you go, more support. So far, we've been in contact with all the department heads. We've got a game plan, we think, together. We have another meeting scheduled this morning after this meeting to go over some more things and just finalize a few things out there. But as far as roads and bridges, those kind of things like that, Aaron has moved equipment, divided it up between two sides of the city. We have some at the old water plant and the old shop over here, along with out at the Fairgrounds Road side there. So we have it on both sides of the city. He is, as far as I know, prepared to have extra crews, at least on call, probably not here at it, but on call and ready to attend. So as far as that side of things, they're all fueled up, everything's ready to roll. They're just, we're hoping we don't have to use it, but it's there. As far as fire department side goes, we've done the same thing. Basically, we've strategically placed some equipment at both of our stations that we have. We fueled everything up. We will have 4 personnel on for the night here at the station. Myself and Kenny, along with 2 part-timers, will be here tonight. And we may be augmented with some volunteers at some point in time at that. We hope we don't need any of that again, but as far as all that goes, we've done, of course, the press release that you saw yesterday, we've put out with it. I've gotten a few phone calls asking some questions from that, which we've answered. The only thing that we have not addressed in that, and just to be honest, it slipped my mind, and a couple others too, is the homeless population. We do have a few of those here, and we are working on having an answer for that too. So we will be handling that side of things too. So again, the storm right now, last I've seen, looks like that it's somewhere anywhere between Atlanta and Greensboro is where the eye is going to pass over. So no matter which way it goes, we're going to get winds out of this. We really would rather be on the other side away from it, but it looks like that bad side is going to get us the right side of the storm, as everybody calls it, or easterly side is going to get us, which we're looking at 80 to 85 mile an hour wind gust, which is pretty bad. So our biggest expectancy that we'll have will be trees down, power lines down, power outages, those kind of things like that. So, but I think we're as prepared as we can be, and the chief can speak more on what he's got on his side.
So the police department will have extra staff on hand tonight to help support the fire department with road closures and any rescue type stuff that we might have to do. Hopefully that it doesn't come to that, but we'll have extra staff on hand to make sure that we have the resources here that we need.
If you do get calls, one thing I would like to bring up, as far as trees down, as long as there's not power lines involved or a danger to life, or it's a one-way in road or something and it comes down during the night, we're probably going to barricade those off and come back and address them in daylight. It's just a lot safer in daytime to handle those kind of things. So If you get calls or complaints that we're not getting there to remove a tree, that very well could be why we're doing that. It's just a safety reason. But again, if somebody's in danger or it blocks their way some kind of way and we see that they need that way to get out, we will be there to remove that. We have put out, I've gotten 2 calls so far that I'm going to address after our meeting this morning for some special needs as far as oxygen, people that are on oxygen generators, that if the power goes out, they may need a little help. So we're going to address them. We will be checking on anybody that calls us in and lets us know that they have a special need. We'll be sending crews out to check to make sure if power's out, that they are doing well. So I think as far as we can go, we're prepared as we can be. And if there's anything y'all see that we can do differently or would like to ask, just let us know.
Thank you so much, Gene. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that report. Thank you so much. This time we'll talk about Reconnected Communities Pilot Program. Molly, Monica.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for having us here.
First to start, just to thank you for the called meeting. Time frames on grants are not always friendly to your schedule, so we sure do appreciate your time this morning.
Absolutely.
And Deborah's.
All right, so we were made aware of an opportunity through the Reconnecting Communities Pilot Grant Program. The U.S. Department of Transportation administers this grant. I want to give you a brief description of what the program is, what it does, and then we'll go into details about what we're hoping to achieve. Thanks. Per the Notice of Funding Opportunity, the purpose of the RCP program is to advance community-centered transportation connection projects with a priority for projects that benefit disadvantaged communities, that improve access to daily needs such as jobs, education, healthcare, food, nature, and recreation, and foster equitable development and restoration. To that end, we would like to study, do you want to, you have a copy of it, okay. We would like to study a number of our railroad crossings. You have the list here: Oil Mill Road, Kolb Street, West Central Avenue, West Washington Street, West Jefferson Street, Birney Street, and North Avenue. This is a planning grant request, so no capital construction, but what we would like to do is extensive community engagement to really determine what improvements or restorations of crossings would do the most good for the community, and then have preliminary engineering done of those prioritized crossings. We have reached out to consultants we've worked with in the past for transportation projects. We've been given a ballpark figure of $750 for completion of a study of this size and nature. One thing to be aware of is, and the reason for this call meeting this morning and why we're wanting to apply for it now, is that this NOFO indicated that they are wrapping up the remaining funding for the next 3 years into this application cycle. This is the last chance we get at this funding cycle. Any grant, any monies that are unattributed at the end of the application cycle will go back into selections that they have made, which means potentially more funding in the next 3 years for us if things go well, which they will. So the grant request is $600,000. It's an 80-20 split. We would have to provide that $150,000, the 20%, and we are suggesting that come out of T-SPLOST. Anything you'd like to add?
Just to note that this kind of is a culmination of 2 or 3 efforts that we've done in the community. The first thing is with Molly leading up our transportation plan. It's coming to full circle. Eric serves on the advisory group for that. We're hoping to have a really robust transportation plan. We've known for years we've had several issues with different crossings. We know that sometimes people bottom out at the cemetery, or they get stuck at that crossing. We know that there is a 5 intersection at North Avenue. We know that we see people still using Birney Street as a desire path, even though it's closed. We see that we've had more than one accident and with rail and with transportation that have happened at Jefferson. And we know that the Washington Street underpass is substandard, as it only has a 3-foot sidewalk. And so we know that our crossings are challenged. What we want to do is discover how to make those better. This does not commit us to any capital projects. It just gives us better insight to plan for the future for our rail. So this brings together both that transportation impetus, but also our work with disadvantaged neighborhoods that are cut off because of rail. And so we're looking forward to seeing what suggestions and planning that they come up with. Also want to add, or do you want to add about Cater Parrott?
Yeah. So sort of two things. We've seen a lot of shift in what GDOT's doing in terms of their ability or willingness to make some changes to their policies and procedures from the last several decades. The same it seems to be true for the railroad. Nashville, Georgia did a recent study and capital construction project of this nature. They partnered with Cater Parrott, and Cater Parrott we reached out to, and they are happy to partner with us in this project and support us through this process, which is really unheard of in the past. So we're very excited about that. They will be writing a letter of support for this and want to be involved in the process. And they are our line operator throughout all of these intersections.
Thank Monica, Molly, and I think this is, I hope you could get this grant, because I think all railroad crossings need this. We all know the repair that they need. I think Mayor Pro Tem Reed and I often get calls concerning Bernie Street crossing, and we know years and years ago that was the avenue and getting to the African American community, and it was closed. And certainly we would love to see something done in that aspect. Yeah.
We've heard some of those comments, Mr. Mayor, during our transportation study. This study that we're asking for funding for this morning will allow us to advance those kind of thoughts. Everybody that participates in public engagement will say, oh, I think I have this great idea, or I have this great idea, but nobody actually knows the context of what it will take to overcome the hurdle that they've identified. They just know that they want the hurdle overcome. So this grant lets us provide context to that so that y'all can kind of study it, prioritize it, and decide if you want to fund it or not. So we're hopeful this information will make you more informed decision makers.
Thank you.
Can I ask a money question, Mr. Mayor?
Sure.
Let's talk money.
Always.
So it looks like if I got this right, $600,000 is simply for the design and the recommendations. And we pay, and that's their share, and we pay the 20% at $150,000. What is the situation for the money to actually implement whatever may be recommended? Where is that coming from, and how much are we talking?
You can go ahead.
Okay, so again, what Molly said was they've got this pool of money and they're holding on to it. They're going to allocate it all at one time, and then they're not going to fund any additional capital or to anybody except for the people who made the first round. So if there is some money that we are hopeful for transportation for construction, it might come out of that. However, just to be clear, we are not applying for construction funds, nor are we expecting the city council to do some forward anticipatory allocations of any type. What we are getting is a planning document that may not get implemented like most planning documents have a 20-year window. So it may be 10 years before you actually see a project, and it may come with additional federal funding. It just kind of depends. Most transportation funding is actually coming out of the federal government. And so whether it's for airports, or whether it's for roads, or whether it's for sidewalks, or perhaps upgrades to rail crossings, the likelihood is we will be seeking an 80-20 funding source from the feds through the state. But that will be some future allocation and some other future local match. But your current obligation would be the 150, and it is only for planning and engineering purposes.
And as far as the individual cost of each railroad crossing, we won't know that until we have the preliminary engineering. So that's what this would tell us, how much that would cost and whether that's something we would like to commit to.
If I got it right, if we don't do this now, if there is future major funding for actual construction, we wouldn't be eligible for it.
That is what they have intimated in, yeah.
What, are we giving the engineering companies that get the contract, are we giving them guidance as to what we are looking for? Are we looking for pedestrian focus?
Absolutely.
Are we looking for?
So this wouldn't just be an engineering process. This would be a planning process that then culminates with an engineering process. They are very focused on community engagement and a community-led planning process. So the first half of this would actually just be a community-driven engagement. where we reach out to and really are listening to the community, what their needs are, and determining what our highest priorities are. Once we determine those highest priorities, then that goes to preliminary engineering. So I assume we will work with a firm that has either both planning and engineering expertise or two different firms to break up those two phases.
I appreciate hearing that, because you look at the different areas where we're talking about, and those are all different neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
With different objectives
Absolutely.
and goals, and I think having the community involvement in that decision-making is really important.
And if you saw the list of things that they hope to address with these types of grants, you'll know they range all the way from jobs to grocery access and housing. So each community that we engage at each crossing is going to have different interests and different needs. We're going to have maybe some up at North Avenue that's a lot more concentrated on discussion of economics, because the jobs that are located at JDR and PennPAC and access to the convenience store. So that's going to be a very different discussion than the cemetery discussion, which is where we just want to be able to make sure people don't get trapped, in the back of the cemetery. So those are totally different conversations. And I think Molly's right. I think we'll probably end up with the best product we get is the more custom product we get. And so when we put that RFP out, we'll be very specific about how we work with that. It probably won't be a planning firm and an engineering firm together, because you just don't get the same quality custom product. Those firms that try to put all that together tend to bleed toward ubiquity. And so we're looking for really custom products for our community, always. And I will say that I don't anticipate it will run this, but this is about the price range that GDOT likes to fund. And when we spoke to the engineering firm, we asked them to anticipate the most robust engagement process possible. So we might get much less than this. We don't know. And of course, your 20% would be geared on what the total project cost is.
Just one final quick question on the 150 T-Splosh funding. Is that from the first T-Splosh or the one that was passed recently, the second?
The one that was passed recently, I believe.
The most recent one?
No, yes, it's the most recent one, not the prior.
That one's depleted, right? Almost, okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add, this really is about an opportunity for us. We're not representing that this is the highest priority necessarily for the city, but thanks to our eagle eyes and planning, and part of grant writing, a big part of grant writing initially is just finding out what opportunities are out there. And so we're very thankful for our staff in planning to be able to keep an eye on things and let us know what's available. But this is important information for certain neighborhoods, and it's probably something that we wouldn't get to. So this really is an opportunity for us. We think it's an investment. It is 20%, it's $150,000, but we probably wouldn't get to this if we had to fund the whole thing right now. I mean, we have other priorities or whatever. So I think that this is really a good thing for the city, and I think that it will provide us information. And if we don't get to it for a year or two or 5 or whatever, we have the basic information there on the shelf waiting for another grant opportunity. And as Monica and Molly said, if we don't have this basic information, we probably aren't going to qualify for additional funds anyway. So I applaud the planning department.
I'll remind y'all that when certain administrations come in, they like to fund very specific things, and they will often put out a call for grants and say, what do you have that's project ready? Small towns don't often have that opportunity to get project ready. So you build the project, you figure out what you need, and you put it on the shelf. So when those funding opportunities do arise in transportation, we can pull something down and say, yeah, we'd like that funding, we're ready to go. So with John's support, this gives us the opportunity to kind of plan ahead and pocket some projects that we probably wouldn't fund, maybe even the next 10 years if we were funding it.
Thanks, Monica. Thanks, Molly. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
do we need a motion to go ahead with it?
Yeah, we'll need a motion for the mayor to sign a letter of commitment for that $150,000.
We get a motion?
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed, it's none, voted unanimously.
We thank y'all for your support, and John, thank you for yours.
Yes, thank you so much.
for
Thank
what you're
you.
doing.
Uh,
Yes.
Chief, I got one request from, make sure the power's back on Saturday. There's some big football games coming up, okay? Make sure that's planned. I want to know.
Otherwise, bring us generators.
I may have to call a few favors in tonight.
Georgia Pacific $5,000 donation to the City of Madison Fire Department for fire equipment. Gene Porter, our chief, Brooke.
I'll let you roll with it.
Hey, good morning, sir. We
morning.
we were approached by Georgia Pacific, specifically our assistant chief was directly approached by Georgia Pacific with the offer of wanting to extend, at that time was an unknown dollar amount to us. They just wanted to be able to be more proactive in the community and wanted to put more and be more active than they've been in the past, is basically where they had been at. I think there's a few other projects that they may be looking to fund or help fund out through there, but what directly affected us was they wanted to make that offer to purchase some equipment that may be outside of our ordinary budget that we have. So, we looked at it, we talked with them to get more finite amount, and that finite amount that they pretty much come back with is $5,000 that they're willing to donate to us. That goes a long ways towards getting some stuff that we could really use that, like I said, would be outside of our normal operating budget that we've asked you guys to fund for us. And so at this time, you know, it's what we're here for, is to kind of ask for under our policy before we accept a donation such as that. I think the same offer is being extended to the county fire department as well. So that's kind of what our due diligence today is to come before you guys, and I'll let the chief speak too.
Yeah, so with Georgia Pacific, we normally respond via automatic aid agreement, which means that when they get a call, the county's going to be their first call, but we're going to, dispatch should go ahead and page us to those calls. With our tower, we're the closest tower, so we've used that many times to assist the county on those calls. I believe that this $5,000, the timing for us is great with the new tower to be able to get equipment for it.
If I may ask a question?
Sure.
So this donation is not tied to anything specific in terms of what you guys need to either purchase or acquire?
They have given no parameters as to what we could do with the $5,000. I believe it's our anticipation to go in and acquire something that will be put on that ladder truck.
Okay, good.
Always good news when the community want to help.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. We appreciate
It's
it.
appreciated.
Appreciate
So that
what
is
y'all do
the
for us.
goal for the new tower truck or ladder truck, the equipment for that?
Either directly or indirectly for that. It would, if not, it would be to outfit personnel that would then be able to go and utilize that truck. We haven't sat down to say, here's exactly where that 5,000 is going.
I know your shopping list is a lot longer than $5,000.
It costs more than that to outfit a firefighter today.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Do we need a motion?
John? Okay.
Okay, we get a motion.
Yeah, Mayor, I would move to accept the offer of a $5,000 donation from Georgia Pacific for the purchase of firefighting equipment.
Second.
Are there any more discussion? All in favor, show of hands. Opposed, none, vote unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right, appreciate it. Are there any public comments this morning? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.